What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. I am Shaniqua Dupree, your Navy transition coach, and this is where I help you to navigate life both in and out of the Navy. As mentioned before, I really wanted to come and bring you a Q&A video of a lot of the common questions that I get about the Navy Reserves. So that is what this video is about today. So one frequently asked question that I get is, how do I become an officer in the Navy Reserves? I'm actually going to give you the programs that you can actually go through to become an officer. This is a PowerPoint found on my Navy Reserve home port. If you want to learn how to get there, just let me know in the comments and I'll be able to help you. But it's all about the commissioning programs specifically for the Navy Reserves. So the name of the programs are as follows. Now, of course, there's some qualification things, but you can go through the Naval Academy. You can go through OCS, Officer Candidate School. You can go through LDO program, the Limited Duty Officer. You can be a Chief Warrant Officer. You can go through, I want to say MECP. I don't think you can do the Seaman to Admiral, but one that I recently found was super cool was the Direct Commissioning Officer. Now, the Direct Commissioning Officer program is really cool because literally you can be in the reserves, get your degree, and apply for the program to be an officer. You don't have to go to a super long school. You will have to go to school for a little bit, I believe, but then again, I'm not totally sure. The reason I found out about this program is because, as you guys know, I'm on funeral honors detail, and we do funeral honors with chiefs, officers, enlisted, anybody. And there was this first class that became an officer literally this year, like I think she said February, March 2023 timeframe. And I was like, I mean, it was that simple. She was like, yeah, I have my degree, I applied, I got approved, and now I'm an officer. And so if you have a degree, right, and you want to become an officer, I honestly think it'll be easier, just my opinion, to join the Navy Reserves, become an officer, and then go active duty if that's something that you wanted to do. That's just my opinion. Anyway, so that's a few of the ways that you can become an officer in the Navy Reserves. Now, you did hear me mention the Stay 21 program. I want to say that is more for active duty. I don't know 100%. Anything that I do give you, take it with a grain of salt. Go look up the instructions and figure out what it is that you need to do to, get whatever it is that I'm telling you guys about. Now, another question I get is, well, can you collect VA disability if you're a reservist? The answer is yes. Now, of course, there's going to be 110 more questions that come along with that yes, but generally, yes. Now, something to pay attention to is focusing on the actual disability, okay? I have not worked at the VA. I have not went through the whole entire process with collecting VA disability benefits. So please do your own research. But something you need to understand when it comes to collecting disability while you're in the Navy Reserves is, number one, you cannot collect VA disability and the Navy Reserve pay on the same day at the same time, right? So if you do drill weekend, you have to choose. Either you're going to get drill weekend money or you're going to get VA disability money, okay? You cannot collect both at the same time. It's basically considered double dipping. And of course, they will not allow that. The other thing that you need to understand when you're considering the VA disability while you're in the reserves is what the disability is for. If this disability is essentially going to be preventing you from doing your regular job, then you're most likely not going to even be able to be in the reserves, if that makes sense. Again, some disabilities do not require you to not work in the reserves. I hope that makes sense. Like, you could still work in the reserves with certain disabilities. Keyword certain. If you want to learn more about that, go ahead and talk to the VA. Talk to those who will be processing your claim and get all of those questions answered. You're most likely not going to find too many people at your NRC to give you the answers that you're looking for. So make sure you just go to the right people to get those answers. Another interesting question I get all the time is, well, how old do you have to be to join the Navy Reserves? And so let's go on back over to the computer so I can show you on Navy.com how old you really have to be, the minimum and the maximum ages for you to join the Navy Reserves. Now here at Navy.com, you'll see the requirements to become a sailor, regardless if it is not enlisted, if it is reservist or active. You have to be 17 and 41, a minimum age of 17 with your parents' signature, and 41 years of age for the enlisted programs. Now, the age requirements for the officer programs may vary, so be sure to go to Navy.com, look at the whole entire website, and look at the information that will help you to accomplish whatever it is that you are trying to accomplish. A lot of the questions that I do get are questions that can literally be answered with a Google search, but hey, I thought, why not just go ahead and answer while I'm doing the Q&A. Another question I get, which I also feel is pretty fair, is what are the rates that are for FTS, for the FTS community? And if I'm gonna be honest, I could not find the answer in a one specific place without having to search a lot for it. So I'm gonna say the type of rates. I'm not gonna go through all the rates. And the reason I'm doing this is because, number one, it's a lot of rates. Number two, not every single rate that is on the active component or even the reserve component, well, not every rate that's on the active component is on the FTS component, okay? But a lot of the air community rates, like AM, AC, AE, a lot of the aviation rates, enginemen rates, electronics rates, corpsmen, a lot of the communication, IT rates, BM, CS, let's see, yeomen, SKs, which are storekeepers, what else? A Navy career counselor also is FTS rate. So it's not a whole lot, but there are definitely some FTS rates that you can be a part of. I hope that was helpful and it makes sense. I would definitely talk to your career counselor if you're trying to get into a specific rate and be FTS. That way you know if it even is possible. Now this next question is pretty fair, and it is, what is AT, annual training? Annual training is the 2 weeks, 14 days, or 2 days of training time and 2 days travel time, which is what it really is, that you have to do while you're in the reserves to meet your yearly requirements. Okay, you have your drill weekend and you have your annual training. Basic things to do in the Navy Reserves. But it's something that you have to do to essentially maintain your Navy Reserve career, to get a good year. And we're not going to go into a good year, actually just a little bit, 50 points. Very simple, very easy. If you do the basic things, you'll meet the 50 points, no problem. But that's essentially what AT is. Now, you do go to your training unit. If you look at some of my old videos, you'll get more information on what the difference is between your training unit, UMUIC, all the things. And you'll essentially go and learn your job. Your AT is to learn more about your rates, hands-on training about your rate. Once a year, most likely with some people that you are in a unit with, like at your NRC. People's NRC and units are different. So for me, for example, when I was stationed over in Colorado, I was going to NOSC Fort Carson, and because there is no engineman units over in Colorado, I had to travel over to San Diego, which I was not mad about. And when I went to San Diego, I was able to get different qualifications, gun quals, OC spray, other engineman qualifications and stuff like that. But when I went back to Colorado, that's where I did my drills and all those things. So your AT is essentially you just learning about your job. Very, very simple. Now this next question is not a frequently asked question, but I think it's a very, very, very important question that needs to start being asked more. But how to get a good eval in the Navy Reserves? How do you get a good eval when you're barely even there? You're there once a month. Like, what do I do? Volunteering, community service, those type of things is very important. Okay. You always have an opportunity to train your fellow shipmates. Okay. Your fellow sailors. You always have an opportunity. It doesn't matter what rank you are. Think of something to train about, right? You can be assistant CFL. You can help with the career counselors in your unit. Like, there's always something for you to do. Find a collateral, do it. I think when I was in Colorado, I did community service type of, what was it? It was like group organization, community organization, I don't know. So whenever something was happening in the unit, like there was a birthday or there was a community event that we wanted to host for the unit, going out to eat, whatever it was, I would be a part of that committee essentially to put that together. Also, making sure that your PRTs are good. Making sure you talk to your chain of command and let them know the things that you're interested in and the things that you're capable of. When you write an eval, you're making yourself look good, right? That's the whole purpose and point of the eval, is making sure that everything that you've done for the whole year is positively reflected on your eval. Okay. So find some positive things to do. Honestly, it's literally that simple. Find some positive things to do. Make sure it's two things you need to focus on. Focus on your unit, helping your unit, and helping yourself. Community service and training. If those are the only two things you can do, it'll definitely take you a long way, and it'll help you stand apart and get good evals in the Navy Reserves, because unlike active duty, it can be a little bit difficult to try and figure out, well, what do I put on this eval when I haven't been here all the time? Now, the last question that I do get quite often is, how do I go from one branch to the next? How do I go from the Navy Reserves to the Air Force or whatever? This question is not something you can just Google and you'll get all the information that you need. Number one, if you have a contract already, let's say you're in the Navy Reserves or you are on active duty, you need to finish your contract, okay? Or you need to get very, very close to finishing your contract, okay? And then the next thing you need to do is talk to a prior service recruiter in the new branch that you want to go to. They'll give you the paperwork that you need to fill out to start the process. There's also programs that the Navy have called Blue to Green. I believe they still have the program. Do your research, friends. Do your research. In order to switch from branch to branch. Not enlisted officers, there is a inter-service transfer that can be done. Talk to your career counselor about that. I'm pretty sure they can help you. But for the most part, you'll have to finish your contract and then go talk to the prior service recruiter of the branch that you are trying to enter into. Now, I get so many questions, but what I would really like to see is you guys ask me some questions down in the comments that will help me to populate the questions easier, instead of going from video to video to video, looking through the comments, scrolling, trying to write down the questions. Just leave them all down below. If you have any questions about the Navy Reserves, transitioning out of active duty, as a civilian to the reserves, whatever it is. I know this particular video was specifically for the Navy Reserves, but I would love to answer all of your other questions as well. Until next time, friends, bye-bye.